A&B Financial Florida Blue is a leading provider of affordable health insurance for individuals, families, and businesses in Florida. And joining us this morning to explain how their team can really help you is Mark Carbellano. Good morning. Good to see you again.
Good to see you again as well.
So I love that you break this down for us. You make these concepts easy for us to understand. It can be a little overwhelming for people. This morning we're talking about Medicare.
Oh, yes.
What are kind of the buzz things that you guys are seeing right now, and what do you think people really need help in understanding?
So the Medicare, I just think there's so many decisions that come at the age of turning 65. You know, we work our whole lives and you're paying into the system to eventually get Medicare, and everybody's very happy about it. You get your red, white, and blue Medicare card, and then you're like scratching your head and you don't know what to do. Getting inundated with mail and who do I talk to? And so it's very important when you're turning 65 to get with a trusted advisor, speak to them about your options, because the decisions that you make at turning 65 are going to impact you for the rest of your life.
Name some of those decisions. Talk about that specifically on what we kind of need to be keying in and making sure that we know, because again, there's all sorts of lingo and different advantage plans and things. I mean,
right. So when you turn 65, at that point, you have to kind of make a decision, right? So there's these things called Medicare supplements, and then you just said Advantage, Medicare Advantage plans, and you have to really explore each one and understand how it's going to protect you. So your Medicare supplement plans are regulated by the government. Well, it's all regulated by the government these days. But what they are going to do is they're going to offset your Medicare Part A and Part B. So what that will allow you to do is go see any doctor that you want, get the services that you need, but there's a fixed cost to it every month. And then you see these other things that are out there, and those other things that are out there are going to be these Medicare Advantage plans. You see the big billboards, zero premium, or all of these other kinds of things, and people say, oh, well, that's what I want. But with those plans, once you're in those plans, if you should fall ill or become sick, you may not be able to switch, where your financial liability is different on each policy. And that's where confusing, right? Yeah, that's exactly right. So that in that scenario, making sure that you speak with an advisor, they look at what your options are, where do you get your services, what medications you take, we put you in the right plan that you choose, and that way you're protected, and you're actually protecting your insurability for the rest of your life.
Well, and it is a big decision to me. I mean, how often can you change these things as well? I mean, we've talked about enrolling before.
Yeah, right.
I mean, you need to make sure that you're making the best decision you can.
Yes.
To meet that deadline.
Yes. So with the Medicare Advantage things, right? So there's a whole series of products. They refer to them as MAPD plans.
Okay.
So those plans you can only enroll, just like the Affordable Care Act, which we've talked about, during certain periods. And that's again in October, November through December. About the same time you can do the Affordable Care Act stuff. Wonderful, right? So that's why we're rather busy. But then what happens is you can switch it from a plan during that period of time. But if you wanted to go to a supplement, you may have to answer medical questions. And if you just get diagnosed with a condition or an illness, now you may not be able to answer those medical questions, and it could exclude you from getting that kind of coverage.
And this is why I think it's important to get it as best as you can right away.
Yes, and that's why it's important. Turning 65, it's making that decision at that time will impact you, and it's important to slowly take that decision. Talk to as many people as you can. Make sure that you understand the basics of Medicare.
And this is what I love about you and your team. There is no charge to do this.
No,
we're going to put your info up here as we close.
Right.
And that's what you want to let people know. Give us a call. Let us answer your questions.
Yeah, we do our presentation. It goes through all of the basics. We do it like a little TV commercial with someone. So we go through. They could sit in their home on their computer, watch our screen, see how, all the ins and outs, get to ask all the questions. A lot of Medicare folks that are turning 65, they invite agents into their home. And that could be uncomfortable as well. So with what we do and the technology that we embrace, you could just sit, look at your computer screen, your iPhone, your iPad, and see everything and learn so that you're making the right decision.
And that's what we're doing right here on the show. Thank you so much for joining us once again. We look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you so much for having me.